On November 14, 2023, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office received a call saying that a 16-year-old named Collin Griffith was just overheard threatening to kill his mother. In a panic, the officers raced to Cullen's doorstep to confirm that his mother, 39-year-old Kathy Griffith, was unharmed. Hello? Hey, how you guys doing? Good. Yeah, you guys can come on in. He's not a happy camper right now. Can't answer the door right now. The deputies entered the house, and to their surprise, they saw Collin being forced to do standing marches while holding weights above his head. What's up, man? Morning, deputies. What you doing? He's doing standing marches as a form of discipline ever since he got home. He beat the underscore out of me last night. So after separating the two and placing Collin into the back of a police cruiser, a furious Kathy, who had just found out about the death threat, rushed outside to confront Collin. Did you tell them at the jail that you were going to kill me? Did you say you were going to hurt me? Little did she know, just 1 year after this encounter, Collin would be on the phone with 911 as he watched her bleed out on the kitchen floor. Normal one, no address of the emergency in Florida. I don't know the state address. My mom is talking to EMS now. She's bleeding out. Please help. Your mom is doing what? My mom's bleeding out too. She's bleeding out. Where is she bleeding from, sir? She's bleeding from the neck, man. She got a little knife. She fell on it. Okay, listen carefully, and I'll tell you how to do chest compressions. Make sure she's flat on her back on the ground. Count out loud so I can count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One moment. Collin was clearly panicking while trying to save his mother's life. With each chest compression, he witnessed her losing more and more blood. Around 6 minutes into the call, Collin had a terrifying realization. He stopped bleeding. No more blood coming out. Watch it. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. Please stop. Okay, listen to me. I don't want to tell you how to control bullying. There's no more blood coming out of no beats at all. Okay, we're going to continue with CPR. Listen to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The dispatcher continued counting until first responders arrived at the scene at 6:25 p.m. Deputies made their way to the kitchen and saw Collin performing CPR on his lifeless mother. Just down the hall, they noticed a large kitchen knife covered in blood lying on the ground. After determining that Kathy's injuries were fatal, she was pronounced dead at 6:27 p.m. They detained Collin and escorted him to the back of a police cruiser, wondering what could have led up to this tragic incident. In order to fully understand the circumstances that led to Kathy's death, we must take a thorough look at Collin and Kathy's colorful past. The drama began in September of 2023 when the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office received a call from Collin's high school. Apparently, he told his teacher that his mom had pulled a gun on him and threatened to kill him earlier that morning. When the deputies went to Kathy's house to speak with her, she said that Collin's claims were ridiculous. She said that he was just making up stories because he was angry that she punished him for failing a test at school. After speaking with Kathy, they went to the high school to speak with Collin directly. He stuck to his story, insisting that she had threatened him with a gun. In the end, the cops believed Kathy, and they decided that no action would be taken against her. Upon hearing this, Collin said that if she were to do something again, he would be forced to defend himself. The authorities interpreted this comment as a potential threat to Kathy. So they initiated Florida's Baker Act to place Collin on involuntary psychiatric hold at the Charlotte Behavioral Center. 3 days later, on September 19th, when Collin was released from the behavioral center, he began repeating the statements that put him there in the first place, and took it even further by directly threatening his mom and Grandma Susan. He specifically said that he had, or something along the lines of that he had done it before, and that he would do it again, and said that he would either push them out of a car, stab them, or shoot them. The deputies had no choice but to initiate the Baker Act for a second time, and Collin was readmitted to the behavioral center for 3 months. Collin was released on September 22nd, and in an attempt to prevent further conflict. Detective Lacey and Corporal Chris Rentis of the Juvenile Intervention Unit were assigned to assist Kathy and Collin as they navigated their relationship. So over the next couple of months, Collin and Kathy were in direct communication with the detectives, sometimes daily. But despite their efforts, things were only getting worse. Then on November 13, 2023, things got out of control again. At exactly 8:43 p.m., Kathy called the sheriff's office saying that Collin had attacked her. But at the same time, Collin called Corporal Rentis and told him the opposite, that Kathy had attacked him. Several deputies were dispatched to the house to figure out exactly what had happened. As they approached the residence, they saw Collin on the side of the road. So they pulled over and spoke with him first. Without my glasses, I don't know where they went. We sat down and we ate, and she started talking to me about how a bunch of really bad __. And then when I got up and was like, you can't just do that. And she was telling me to shut up. She hit me in the face and then she grabbed onto me. I hit her in the stomach, and then I'm a wrestler. It was just reactive. Grabbed her. She got to the ground. I grabbed the phone. I started recording and then I left. But we've been through this. She called Francis, because he kind of messed up, right? No, it's because I didn't know who else to call. And I knew that, and I wanted to make sure he knew, first off. Okay. Although Collin claimed that his mom had punched him, there were no visible marks, and no redness or swelling on his face. They patted him down, put him in handcuffs, and placed him in the back of a police cruiser. They then went back to the house to get Kathy's side of the story. Catherine A. Griffith. Right. So I heard EMS is coming to check out your hand. I'm right here cause he kicked me. Okay. Hey, can I see your hand? According to Kathy, Collin was mad that she had taken his phone away for misbehaving. So he K&E her in the stomach and threw her on the ground. He kept the phone out of my hand as I was trying to record it. I was on the ground. Within minutes, EMS arrived and one of the medics inspected her injuries. Unlike Collin, Kathy did have visible injuries, including scrapes on her hand where Collin had allegedly stomped on it, and redness where he had allegedly kneed her in the stomach. Collin's grandma, Susan, was also there. She said that Collin had stayed at her house last night because he and his mother weren't getting along. When it was time to bring him back home in the morning, he protested this decision and was desperate to avoid his mother. Bowen did not want to come back home. Okay. And I said, you don't have a choice. You have to go back home. And he said, no, I want foster care. And even the corporal was saying, foster care isn't going to be good for you. You don't have issues. You have to work on them. And I said, you have got to learn to get your anger under control. People are going to get in your face, and you're going to have to learn to deal with that. Just ignore it. The other thing too is you don't ever hit anybody, and especially somebody as small as Cappy. I said that needs to be goes. No, but there are no us. That's all there is. Susan told the deputies that when she brought Collin back home, she decided to stay for dinner. She essentially had the same story as Kathy, that when Kathy took Collin's phone away, he got mad and attacked his mom. I think he wanted the phone and that's all he was concerned about, was getting the phone back. You said next thing you know they're on the ground. Did you see how they got on the ground? No. Okay. Because I was trying to call also. Okay. The deputies told Susan that they were going to charge Collin for domestic violence battery before they took him down to the station. They allowed Susan to have a word with him. Got to get your anger under control. Okay. I'm saying to you all the time and I love you. Well, I think my anger's fine. Do you think your anger's fine? Yes. It's just with some of the blacksmith. What didn't happen though? I was there. No, she with me. She grabbed on me. I didn't see that call and I really did. I was just trying to have face to face with the soldier. I was telling you I'm not a psychopath. I'm not this murderer. I'm just trying to peacefully leave or peacefully coexist and just figure something out. And she kept telling me to shut up and shut up. And when I wouldn't shut up, she hit me. No, that's not what happened, Collin. That's not what happened. After this, she said argument. Collin was brought down to the juvenile detention center. He was momentarily left alone in the back of the police cruiser and having a conversation about two different personas, Collin 1 and Collin 2. I'll say it to you like this if you want to know. Collin 1 is, I guess, he's who just wants to survive, help people, and do good things in the world. And Collin 2 is the one that protects Collin 1 in situations where he can't escape from. Collin T was the one that killed someone. But you're talking to Collin 1. To give context, just 9 months before this encounter, in February of 2023, Collin's abusive father cornered him with a knife and Collin shot him to protect himself. Collin was initially charged with first-degree murder for his father's death. But a month later, his charges were dropped since they couldn't disprove that Collin's actions were in self-defense. He then moved from Oklahoma to Florida to live with his mother. In the call with Corporal Rentis, Collin is telling him that he has two personas and Collin 2 killed his father, and he is now afraid that Collin 2 will kill his mother as well. Does Collin actually have a split in his psyche, or is he just a twisted killer premeditating his mother's murder and preemptively mounting his insanity defense? I need to figure out exactly what you're scared of. Scared of going back in there, wrenches. Jesus, how many times do I got to say it? That's all I'm scared of. I think that you are capable of killing your mother. But I don't think that you have a strong submit to, it's the strongest version of me. Following this phone call, Corporal Joella Moore, the officer who had arrested Collin earlier, approached the back window of the cruiser and had a brief conversation with him. He expressed that releasing him back to his mother again could result in grave consequences. I don't know how I'm going to react when she does that again. If I can control myself or how that's going to happen. What do you think you might do to her? If she tries to hit me again, I might hit her back really, really hardly and badly. Collin spent the night in the detention center, and the next morning on November 14, 2023, he had a court hearing where he was put on probation. He was free to go while he awaited his next court date, and his mom was already outside waiting to pick him up. Although Detective Lacey warned Kathy that she could be putting herself in danger, Kathy insisted that Collin come back home with her. She made a comment to me that she was willing to accept her fate if that gave her more time with her son, meaning she was willing to die at the hands of the defendant as long as she had more time to spend with him. Just moments after Kathy drove off with Collin, the sheriff's office received a call from the officer at the juvenile detention center, who escorted him outside. He said that right before Collin got in the car, he threatened to take his mother's life. As you saw at the beginning of this video, several deputies went straight to the house to find out if Kathy really was in danger. Hello? Hello? Hey, how you guys doing? Good. Yeah, you guys can come on in. He's doing sandy marches. He's not a happy camper right now. Can't answer the door right now. But if you'd like to leave a message, right? Yes, sir. So what's going on, man? Last night, me and my to a physical altercation. I got arrested for domestic battery, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so how is the situation with you and right now? She thinks that I shot her. I don't. She thinks that I'm like psychotic, like literally psychopath, sociopath, something like that. She thinks I'm going to kill her, that I want to beat the underscore out of her. Do you? No, sir. I am not gonna take what I consider abuse when someone's attacking me. Did you make any statement saying that you were gonna kill? Yeah. Was that said? I did not say I was going to kill her. I did not say kill. We're just trying to figure out. We just want to make sure we do everything we can to prevent anything happening. So given the situation, I don't think that we should be in the same house at all. The deputies asked Collin why there was so much tension between him and his mom in the first place. And Collin seemed to put all of the blame on Kathy. So I came to live with her after my dad died. And since then, there's just been kind of times when things boil over with her. One time she pulled a gun on me. I called the cops. Well, what got her to the point that she's doing these things? I don't know. You have no idea. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she pulled a gun. It's cause that I'm driving her crazy somehow. She was really abused by my dad, from what I know. And I kind of just made it to where she has these very specific things that set her off. So how long ago was you had? Sorry to hear that. 7 months. Yeah. He attacked me, my dad. And when he did, he tried to kill me overnight, and then it was in Oklahoma, and he died. How was that? I shot him when he tried to kill me. All right. The deputies decided that the best course of action is to remove Collin from the household. They then initiated the Baker Act for a third time, and Collin was placed in cuffs again and taken to the back of a police cruiser. Kathy, who just learned the reason the deputies had shown up to the house, went straight to the cruiser to confront Collin. Did you tell them at the jail that you were going to kill me? Did you say you were going to hurt me? I heard you say you were worried what was going to happen, ma'am. Yes, they have to go. Although Kathy was upset with Collin for his comment, the deputies tried to explain why they made that decision. But I struggle with a kid that's being released from jail and saying if you bring me back there, she's going to die. If we don't do something, shame on us. Yeah, then we're not shame on us. And we failed you. And I'm not failing you, nor am I going to fail your son. Following these incidents in November, Collin's lawyer realized how unsustainable it was for Kathy to have full-time custody of Collin. The lawyer was able to negotiate a concurrent custody agreement, which gave Susan and Kathy equal authority over Collin, and he could now stay with either one of them as he pleased. Collin went back and forth between living with his mom and living with Susan, and things seemed to be going pretty well over the course of 2024. Collin graduated high school, and his mother bought him a brand new car as a graduation gift, which allowed him to get a new job as a delivery driver for Domino's. Although this was a nice gesture from Kathy, it was later revealed that she didn't actually buy the car herself. She used money from Collin's trust fund, which Kathy had never contributed to. Regardless, things between Kathy and Collin seemed better than ever. Over the summer, she posted photos of their trip to Washington, D.C., where they toured the White House together. But as summer came to an end, Kathy texted one of her friends saying, "I'm going into that dark place again." On September 7, 2024, the day before Kathy's death, an argument about a bookshelf was captured on the Ring camera in her living room. Fall off, break and break the wall. I need the keys to the house. You have a book with your car. You need a change of clothes. You're not coming home tonight. You want to tell someone. There's no gun. Kathy locked the door behind him. Collin took his car and drove to stay with Susan. Susan was on vacation at the time, but she would be back at some point the next day. The next morning, despite the custody agreement, Kathy was furious that Susan allowed Collin to stay at her house. So she called Susan several times berating her. If Collin's not here by 10 o'clock, do you understand me? Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Yes or no? I need a yes or no. Yes or no? Do you understand me? I thought he was going to work. He's not here by 10 o'clock. I'm sending the cops. You do not have my permission to have Collin in your home. And if he's not back by 10 a.m., I'm going to take it if you are holding him hostage and not giving him back to me. Thank you. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye. Kathy also threatened to sell Collin's car if he didn't come home immediately. I'm taking the car. I'm taking everything. So I'm about to go up there and go and get the car, because the car is mine. I have it in my name. She then followed this up by saying she had already found a buyer that conveniently lives in Susan's gated community, and that she was outside, ready to hand over his keys. Car is sold. You can either get in the car with me and come back home, or he can come. Then you better tell him that he needs to give me a goddamn phone call in 10 minutes. Of course, these statements weren't true, because she wasn't outside. Actually, all of these audio clips were recorded by a Ring camera in the living room of her home. Clearly, Kathy was just angry and doing anything she could to get Collin back home. As a final Hail Mary, Kathy tried to blackmail Collin. She texted him saying that she had recordings on her Ring camera that captured him admitting to the premeditation of his father's murder. Collin was convinced that if Kathy revealed those recordings, he would go to jail, and he decided he wouldn't let that happen. When he found out that his mother had cancelled all of his credit cards, the conflict came to a head. At 12:47 p.m. on September 8, 2024, the Ring camera captured Collin coming back into the house. He walked to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and stabbed his mother in the chest and neck multiple times. The audio picked up a brief struggle before silence. Collin then calmly walked out of the house, got in his car, and drove to his job at Domino's. He clocked into work at 1:04 p.m. and spent the next few hours delivering pizzas. A few hours later, Susan arrived home from her vacation and saw Collin's car in the driveway. She saw the front door was open, so she walked inside. She saw Kathy's body lying on the living room floor and immediately called 911. Collin was arrested at his job later that night. When he was questioned, he admitted to killing his mother, claiming she threatened him, and he acted in self-defense. He was charged with first-degree murder, the same charge he initially faced for killing his father. You've left me with no choice, Collin. The recordings of you admitting to killing blank and planning the murder. There are 4 different instances from my Ring camera, are all going to Bob, Susie, Amanda, and Chris at 3 p.m. today. My dad is sending his recordings of you telling him how you planned my murder back in February. You have 10 minutes to call me and fix this. Collin, I am signing this title and handing over the keys now. Kathy finally decided to drive to Susan's house to confront Collin. Susan's neighbors watched as Kathy sped through the gated community and slammed on her brakes at Susan's residence. She slammed her car door as she exited the vehicle and stormed up to the house. 1 hour later, Collin dialed 911 and police were dispatched to Susan's house. With Collin sitting in the back of the police cruiser and the forensics team processing the scene, the deputies decided to canvass the area. Susan's neighbors told them that after Kathy entered the house, she came back outside and was making a big scene on the front lawn, yelling at Collin. You said that you saw a hand come out and touch a shoulder on the steps. Did you hear anything? I never heard nothing. I turned my head and went back into the house and got busy again. And from your perspective, did it look like the person was getting dragged into the house? No. Like I said, when I seen the hand come out and grab her by the shoulder, I turned and went back into the house. And I said, they'll probably work it out. I thought it was his sister, or Susan's granddaughter. And I said, they're probably having a little spat and they'll work it out. Although this neighbor claimed to have seen Collin grabbing Kathy's shoulder and pulling her inside. Another neighbor that saw the incident claimed that Collin pulled her into the house by her ponytail. And she went around the back of the car up close to him. And she was swinging her arms again. And he reached and she says, I heard her say, let go of my hair. You're hurting me. And he reached up and opened the door and they went inside, pulled her inside. When they tried to question Collin himself about the incident, he refused to answer any questions and requested an attorney. Collin spent the night in the juvenile detention center. And the next day, Sheriff Grady Judd of the Polk County Sheriff's Office held a press conference announcing Collin's arrest. He described Collin as a cold-blooded murderous psychopath. He's violent. He's dangerous. He showed zero remorse. Zero remorse. Shortly after this press conference, State Attorney Brian Hoss formally charged Collin with first-degree murder and announced that Collin would be tried as an adult. I made the decision to charge this 17-year-old as an adult based upon the egregious facts and circumstances of this case. Charging a minor as an adult is not a decision that I take lightly, but as state attorney, it is my responsibility to do so when warranted. His trial began on January 29, 2025. The prosecution believed that Collin hated his mother and had been planning her death for many months, just like he did with his dad. But they weren't allowed to tell that opinion to the jury since he ultimately wasn't charged for his father's murder. The prosecution was unable to bring up the specifics of that case in the trial. However, they were able to introduce this clip to the jury. Collin 2 is the one that protects Collin 1, and Collin was the one that killed someone. This made it obvious that Collin had killed somebody before, but it prevented the prosecution from saying exactly who the victim was. Surprisingly, after the claims of split personality that we heard earlier, Collin's attorneys didn't even take a stab at an insanity defense. Instead, they moved forward with the claim of self-defense. Of course, this contradicted the story that Collin had initially told the authorities. We got so nice on it. The defense claimed that Collin didn't admit to killing his mother because he was afraid that his claim of self-defense would fall on deaf ears. Just like every other time, he and Kathy had a dispute. One of the first witnesses that the prosecution called to the stand was Detective Lacey. She told the courtroom about Kathy's devotion to spending time with Collin regardless of the circumstances. She made a comment to me that she was willing to accept her fate if that gave her more time with her son, meaning she was willing to die at the hands of the defendant as long as she had more time to spend with him. Yes. But during cross-examination, the defense implied that this was an act in order to establish control over Collin's life and prevent him from getting the help he needed. Detective Lacey also said that Kathy would frequently go against everybody's advice on how to have a healthier relationship with Collin. One of the most shocking testimonies from the state's witnesses was from Robert Wantis, Collin's grandfather. Collin was quite close with Robert and would sometimes vent to him over the phone about Kathy and Susan. However, on one occasion in February of 2024, Collin took things too far. My grandson was very aggravated at his grandmother and his mother. He said, "I am so tired of these two bits. I'm disgusted." He said, "My mom, I keep thinking over and over, I want her to bleed out. I want to smell the blood. I want to feel the blood. I want to feel the life and the blood leaving her body." I said, "Collin, I love you everybody, but you can't have those kinds of thoughts and focus on them and then speak them, because you will cause them to become reality. Please think positive things about your mom, about yourself, and about a good future together." However, the defense claimed that Robert was hardly involved in Kathy and Collin's life. Based on the evidence, it appeared that Robert had only spoken to Collin 3 times while he was living with Kathy. Not only that, but Robert didn't even go to Kathy's funeral. Mr. Wantis, you didn't come to Kathy's funeral, did you? I will see Kathy in my thoughts, in my mind. That's where I want to keep her. Attending a funeral where her body is placed in the ground, that's not Kathy. The essence of Kathy is elsewhere. She's with me. She's here in this room today, with each of you. Mr. Wantis, and I asked whether you went to the funeral and why. Just answer that question, please. You interrupted me, as I was explaining why that you don't like my response. Ma'am, that's your problem. To discredit Robert even further, the defense called their one and only witness to the stand, called grandmother Susan. Was Robert Wantis invited to the celebration of life? No, he was not. Robert tends to be very disruptive. He has difficulty with truthful manners, and we just did not want to have more lies and disruption. The final time that we could say goodbye to Kathy. The defense also asked Susan about Kathy's long history of mental health issues, family estrangements and violence, showing jurors that Kathy's unstable nature was prevalent long before Collin had moved in with her. Are you aware of Kathy having pinned her then husband to the wall of the house with her running car? Yes, ma'am. I know. What about an incident where Kathy stabbed her then husband with a corkscrew and then burned him with a terrarium light? Are you aware of that incident? Yes, ma'am. Are you aware of Kathy threatening to kill her then ex-husband's girlfriend's family in Homestead? Yes, I know. I was telling her that what she was doing was crazy. She was going to get in trouble, that she couldn't take it out on 3 innocent lives in Homestead. She needed to turn around and go back home. Have you ever personally witnessed Kathy engage in a physical act of violence towards Collin? There was a fight. The fight started because she was beating him with a belt. When you say that she beat him with a belt, were you actually there for that? Yes, I was. And I tried to stop it. Are you aware that Kathy pulled a gun on Collin? Yes. Originally she denied it. Then she said yes. So she actually admitted that to you? Yes. And Corporal Rentes was aware of that also. Corporal Rentes was a part of this conversation where Kathy admitted she pulled a gun. Did Kathy have a reputation within your family as being violent? Yes. Did she have a reputation as being unpredictable? Yes. And volatile? Yes. During cross-examination by the state, they grilled Susan for testifying on Collins's behalf and painting her daughter in such a bad light. It sounds like you're really quick to try to throw dirt on your dead daughter. Would you agree with that? No, not at all. My dead daughter did the best that she could. We have a problem in this country with addressing mental health. We all know that. And that's what she had. She had mental health issues. At times she was the greatest person on the world. Very intelligent. I appreciate that, ma'am. I appreciate that. You mentioned that you and your family members love to talk about how violent Kathy was. Is that right? No, we didn't love to talk about how violent Kathy was. We talked about what we could do to help her. We didn't want her to lose her job. And more than anything, we wanted her to try to get better. Cullen decided that he wouldn't be testifying. So the defense rested their case, and it was time for the closing arguments. The writing was on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. The writing was on the wall. The defendant knew what he wanted to do, and it was just a matter of time. The state has in no way come close to proving to you beyond a reasonable doubt. They have failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Collin did anything other than defend himself against his mother, and that what he was afraid would happen actually happened. Your verdict has to be done. The jury was sent to deliberate, and after about 12 hours they reached a verdict. We the jury find as follow as to the defendant in this case. As to count 1, the defendant is not guilty. As to count 2, the defendant is not guilty. So say will this 5th day of February 2025. Collin Griffith was acquitted of all charges, and after being processed back at the jail, Collin walked out a free man.